Ethan Ralph has many foes, but none of them are as memorable as Mr. Medicare, otherwise known as Jim. The reason I say that is because this was originally going to be the capstone to the Mr. Medicare Rogues Gallery trilogy, but I quickly realized as I was making it that with 18 months of Ralph's unchecked rage picking, I was going to have to cover what happens when Ralph's greatest Wrangler left him to his own devices. Well, it wasn't long after Jim's disappearance from the internet that Ralph would have an older foe come back into his life. This time, one named Ashton Joel Parks, otherwise known as PPP. And say what you want about PPP, but what you can't say is that the man is not able to eat 100 chicken nuggets in a sitting.
Welcome to another really intensely degenerate stream. To try and eat 100 chicken McNuggets. Chicken nuggets. These ones are from Burger King there. They're pretty good chicken nuggets. It's going to be a pretty intense showdown there. I don't know if people believe I can do it or not, but it was Kraut. Kraut yet again called me out and challenged me. Said that if I could eat the 100 chicken nuggets, he would leak all the DMs that he had with Sargon on Skype and on all the different platforms. So it's pretty critical that I managed to eat the 100 chicken nuggets. I've got the honey mustard sauce. They only let me choose one sauce from Burger King, so I have like 20 different honey mustard sauce there. There's 100. There's like 10 bags of 10 in there.
PPP and Ralph had been foes for well over a year at this point, and the only reason that I'm not going more into that story is because PPP deserves his own Rogues Gallery video, and this, unfortunately, isn't it. Well, on May 10th, 2020, just 2 months after his last conversation with Daddy Jim, Null, the owner of Kiwi Farms, would have this to say about Ralph. House Ralph has brought bad omens for this land, and he should be sacrificed for the harvest. Null would talk about sacrificing Ralph to the corn live for the first time on his show Matt at the Internet on May 22nd, 2020, something that would later be known as the Corn Harvest, as well as talking about how Ralph could fix his life.
PPP won on gaining more fans, I guess. I mean, okay, I don't dislike Ralph, but I'm at a place, and I'm not being ironic, where I think it may be time to sacrifice Ralph to the corn. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph, to the gods, so that the corn will be a bountiful harvest this year. Because I think he has so much bad blood with all these people who fucking hate him, that it may be the only solution. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph for the harvest. I think it's coming. I don't know. He mocks my predictions. I did go all in predicting that Jim would bail out a new project too, which is Dick Masterson's Patreon alternative, and I was completely wrong, I guess. So he's going to hold me to that. He's going to say that Josh's predictions are bad, but it's just a feeling I get. Because the people have demonstrated that they are tired of the status quo. And Ralph seems to be the one they all go after primarily. And people associated with Ralph, like Dick, become the next targets. So I do believe that the momentum against Ralph is mounting. And I don't even know what I would do as Ralph, like, I know I'm not like the best position ever myself, but I'm thinking, like, if I woke up as Ralph, like, what would you do to build something back up? And I think the obvious answer is to kick alcohol. I think he denies that and says that his best shows were him drunk, but I have very little sympathy for dependence. I find alcohol, it's not entirely. I'm not like a completely sober person. I'll drink beer, especially with food. because I like to go to a place. I think if you go to a foreign country and you're eating local cuisine, it's important to have a locally brewed beer with the food.
Just 2 days later, on May 24th, 2020, on Dick Masterson's show, aptly named The Dick Show, both Null and Ralph would talk about the great corn harvest.
Yeah. Oh God, Josh is there. Do you want to talk to Null's there? Do you want to talk to Null?
Sure, bring him on if you want.
All right. Null, are you there?
Hi.
Hello. Null, you motherfucker.
He sounds fine. His audio sounds fine. But
Yeah, your audio is on Discord, but it's whatever. I cranked you up to 200%, so it's fine. It's whatever.
This is horrible.
That's 100 more, isn't it?
This is horrible for me.
Yeah.
Is the YouTube
dying in
audio
real
fine?
time.
Is the YouTube
I'm
audio
dying
fine?
in real time, yeah.
They said YouTube sounds okay.
Okay.
It's the same. It's getting it from the same source.
No, what is happening? What is happening to us? What is happening to our alliance? We're being torn asunder.
Everyone's going insane because they're all cooped up. I've been practicing for my entire life, so I'm unaffected, but everyone else is horribly degraded by
I really think
being
it
left
is.
inside.
I think that's true. Did you say that Ralph was going to be sacrificed? I didn't watch the stream because for some reason I'm not getting notifications of any of your stuff anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know if that's intentional or if I'm just a read. Both are equally plausible when it comes to YouTube. But yeah, no, I made a reference to. I've been making a reference to the South Park episode. There's that episode where Britney Spears is basically photographed to death.
Yeah.
Like she tries to blow her brains out and they bring her back and they keep photographing her.
Right.
Yeah.
And the joke is that they have to sacrifice her for the harvest. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if we have to sacrifice Ralph for the corn, whatever, that's just going to be it. And then he sends me this really pissy fucking DM like, you sir will be sacrificed long before me. I'm like,
that's exactly true. By the way, first off, he makes this analogy on his show, and then he goes, "I'm not joking. This is not a joke. I'm dead serious. Ralph needs to be sacrificed so I can stop being picked on by my own board every single day, and they can stop calling me a child again every single day." So he's trying to turn the heat back on me. Then he goes like a woman and leaks the DMs to his Discord because that's the kind of dude he is. So I mean. That's Josh for you. I don't know what to say.
Very, very eloquent. Being called a child by my own board, so you don't have to accuse me of being a child, but you can throw it out there without
the board
eating
said
it.
That, not me,
That-
Josh. I don't know.
I think that's what a woman does.
Your own people said that, Josh. I didn't say that. Many people are saying that, but I'm not one of them.
Is this for real?
Many fucking weirdos joining from your circles, yes, are repeating.
Is that right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Fast forward a month later, on June 15th, 2020, and Ralph, after getting divorced by his wife Nora, but currently dating the new manager of his Ralph Retort website, Adrian Blair, would meet up with his future girlfriend, Faith Vickers, IRL. Now, I want you to remember those names because it's going to be very important very soon, especially because on June 26th, Ralph and Adrian broke up, leading to Ralph and Faith to start dating 19 days later. Well, to make a very long story short, Faith moved into Ralph's house and would later move out back with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Vickers. Ralph doxed Null's mother on livestream, PPP was banned from the now-defunct streaming site DLive, and Adrian Blair would confirm that Ralph and Faith hooked up while she was still dating him. I like to start the rogues gallery saying Ethan Ralph has many foes, but this time, Ralph actually did. People like Mundane Matt, King of Pole, and Crouten T were coming out of the woodwork, ready to strike at Ralph, and this time there was no Zidane, there was no Nora, and certainly there was no Jim, to keep him in line. Well, on August 11th, 2020, Chris Kerr, Faith's ex-boyfriend and actual groomer that had been grooming her since she was 15, posted a message on the forums saying that Faith had said she was using Ralph and that Ralph's breath smelled like old tampons. As well as my personal favorite part, that she didn't want to get crushed by Ralph's belly, otherwise known as the gunt. Oh, and also Ralph had been drunk driving with her in the car. Yikes. Now, if you know anything about Ethan Oliver Ralph, it's that he cannot and will not take an L sitting down. And if you know anything else about Ralph, it's that when he gets hollering, the thought of any future repercussions go out the window. So, while Chris Kerr was streaming, Ralph sent him a sex tape that had Ralph and Faith in it, and tricked Chris into playing it on livestream, getting his account banned. Well, the next day, on August 12th, Ralph would have a very big day. This all started out with Null hosting the corn harvest, where he would bring on all of Ralph's biggest foes at the time, almost like his own little personal Legion of Doom.
My friends, it is time. It's been a long time coming. It's time. Let me start by saying that I've seen a lot of people come out in the last 24 hours and say things that they know to be true, and which they've known to be true for a long time. And I would like to extend, once again, a very sincere offer to Gator to acknowledge that Ralph is a complete piece of shit and has completely and totally abused his trust for years. Because when the CEO of a company does something that embarrasses himself, he embarrasses his company. But in addition, he embarrasses his staff. He embarrasses the people who work on his product to make him money. And there is no one who could be more conceptually joined at the hip with Ralph and embarrassed by proxy by what Ralph does than Gator. There's a ton of other people, but he is the primary recipient of any kind of abuse from Ralph. What Ralph has done by revenge porning his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever, is not just some ridiculous fucking thing that he's done, which has fucked himself over. It is a direct disrespect to Gator, because Gator is the one who looks like an idiot standing next to the dumpster. So Gator is going to be streaming by himself tonight, and I want to offer my confidence in him. What the Ralph retort is right now is nothing special. It is whatever it was before that Ralph made it special with, completely gone. It's reading the news. It's towing a very safe conservative line. It's playing Tucker Carlson, stating the obvious. And I believe, fully and completely, that Gator can do this by himself, build something for himself, and collect money for himself. Because I know for a fact that Ralph has tens of thousands of dollars in the bank that he is still coasting off of, that Gator has not seen a fucking dime of, and that he's not entitled to, because he has spent years building this fat, retarded alcoholic's entire career. And with that monologue over, I would like to introduce our panel of 6 people. And let me unmute them real quick. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Pretty good. So
Hey.
just to run by everyone, I see Kraut, Aid, PPP, Aid's friend Shannon, and Wild Smile. All right? Good. Did I get everybody's name right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The first main event started with Adrian Blair being called for the rest of this video, Aid, being asked how she knew Ralph and what their relationship was like.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just kind of start with how I know him. I met him probably, it was before he went to jail, so maybe like, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago? Stayed close with him. You know, we wrote each other back and forth when he was in jail. I was close with Nora. And then fast forward to him and Nora getting divorced. She kind of disappeared off the internet for a while. And Ralph and I were talking. I had just gotten out of a relationship, and we had just started talking. And, you know, when you're just getting out of a relationship, you're a little more susceptible to things you wouldn't normally maybe do. But that's kind of how we got talking like that. And yeah, so.
So who approached who in terms of like a relationship?
Well, in terms of a relationship, that came a little later, but as far as approaching me to let me know that the way he kind of put it was, I've always wanted to fuck you.
Oh.
And
You got to remember they were friends and she had just got out of a relationship. So, you're fucked up in the head when that happens.
yeah, and I don't want to make too many excuses for myself. I mean, I'm grown. I'm not that vulnerable or anything, but I kind of went along with it, and I heard that he put something on his Twitter about how he said that he asked me to fuck, and I came down right away. It was actually probably 3 weeks. It was probably a good 3 weeks later before I actually went down there.
Okay.
And
The
you
follow.
didn't know. Oh, go for it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did you know anything about Faith at the time that you met her or met him?
So when he first split up with Nora, he did tell me that he was talking to an 18-year-old, and we were kind of laughing about it, just like making jokes about it. I was like, well, good on you, whatever. And but we were just making jokes about it, and he's like, it probably won't end well, which is kind of funny considering. And that was it. That was really all. That was really all I had heard about her. And then a couple days later, he started hitting on me, and I kind of just assumed that wasn't really a thing. So that's all I really knew about her initially.
Even the Boulder King himself, Mundane Matt, would make an appearance. AKA the man that Ralph used as his claim to fame and the Killstream's greatest highlight by far.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour is here. Mr. Matt Jarbo is here. Mr. Jarbo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just out earning a living for my family, not getting drunk on an internet forum somewhere and crying about not being able to read insults about me. Oh my God, no. People said mean things on the internet. Holy I just
Happy
caught that
boulderversary, Matt.
yeah. I mean, that's what you want to call it. I guess we should really call it maybe that's just the term. I'm okay with that. If it means his utter demise, then let's own it. Let's take it.
I mean, it was, to clarify, it was, I think, 2 years ago exactly. There was some discussion. I think it was on the 9th that it officially, like, the
It was on the
happened.
it was on the 8th of August, so it would have been Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
But everyone kept saying it was today, and I was like, who am I to argue with the celebration?
In my heart, it was the 11th. And I think
Sure.
retroactively, the boulderversary is now changed to the 11th to coincide. Retroactively, the universe has changed it to coincide with the cockiversary. I don't know what we're going to call this, the sex tape anniversary or what. Hold on one sec.
We then got to learn about one of Ralph's strangest obsessions related to Null, something that I don't even think Null took seriously until this conversation happened.
My thing was, he kept harping on it. He kept trying to make fun of me and talk about my dick. And I'm like, this motherfucker is projecting as hard as possible. And that's as clear as day that he has something he's compensating for.
He's obsessed with your dick. I mean, like, yeah.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Confirmed.
Hey, did he ever at any point in any conversation, DMs not, when you were there or not, did he ever talk about Josh's broken dick to you at all?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have a broken dick, though. I'm just saying, did he actually sit down and in detail go, let me tell you about Josh's penis?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
No.
Well,
Josh really got to him. I mean,
yeah, but he actually sat down with you and was like, I need to talk to you about Josh's dick.
well, it
like,
wasn't like that. It was, he told me what he had heard or what he saw on Discord or something like that. And he's like, this guy has a broken dick. He has no right to talk about me. And
What did I do to him?
Didn't you say he was obsessed with Josh?
yeah, he kind of is. Yeah.
What did I do?
Then, the gym question was finally asked.
If you don't mind, I want to kind of pivot on the same time the topic, but did he ever mention Mr. Medicare, Jim, like a lot? Because that's another guy that everybody claims that he tries to claim as his best friend or emulate?
He said that they were, bros or whatever, but
So they're best buddies.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned T-Clips and Boober Lee. Do you know anything about that feud? Because that started around the time they were together in Michigan.
It's funny because, T-Clip's cool. I don't have any issues with her or anything, but right around the time that Ralph and I got together, she was kind of trying to hit up my ex-boyfriend and was messaging me like constantly about it, which was like really getting on my nerves.
Aid told us that the only reason that Nora ended up going on Ralph's show after their divorce was because Ralph had paid her, but the reality was that she hated Ralph.
He's been bragging a lot about having Nora come back on his show to own T-Clips or to own whoever's saying that, he's not on good terms with Nora. But the truth is that Nora fucking hates him. And the only reason she went on his show that after his divorce was because he paid her.
Wow.
Oh wow! Oh my god!
I mean, can you elaborate on why is she so angry at him?
Well, because
too personal?
I don't want to get too much into that, but he I can't remember why he needed to have her on. It was somebody was questioning, whether or not their divorce was amicable. So he paid her to come on and pretend like it was amicable.
Do you think that she'll be angry with you for saying that?
She might be. And I'm sorry, Nora. I'm really sorry, Nora, but Nora's a great. Yeah, I mean, and on the other side of things, she might be saying like him, because I think she's.
After Aid had left the call, Null would name off a list of Ralph's problems that Ralph was 100% responsible for creating. This is going to be shown as highlights due to how many non-related things ended up being interjected into it.
So this is problems that Ralph has inflicted upon himself instead of doing nothing. Problem number 1, he did not ignore my joke about the corn. This has already been talked about with Aid. For some reason, that still, like, okay, my thing with the forum is I try not to fuck with people. This is sort of an exception to the rule. I've been very deliberately fucking with Ralph very recently, but that's because I've been, I'm like a vampire. I like to describe myself as like a vampire. I only fuck with people when they invite me to fuck with them. And I feel very invited by Ralph to fuck with him, which is how I justify this to myself. The joke about the corn was not malicious. It was an observation that Ralph was inviting problems into his life, and which he has done. Do you guys have any questions about the corn before we proceed?
Here's the thing, but Josh, what you have to realize is you can't allow any slight to go unanswered. If you do, you're a pussy and a bitch. That's not how it works in prison. If somebody calls you a bitch, you got to stand up and knock them out. So he had no choice but to respond to the corn joke, Josh. He had no choice.
Is that just like quick trash, or is that like alcoholic, or like a combination of the two?
Well, that's the mentality. It's a criminal mentality.
Okay. Point number 2. Ralph could have saved himself a lot of trouble by not defensively confirming that he was with Aid. Which was, if you didn't know, he announced his relationship with Aid in an argument with me on the Dick Show, where I said that he was dating Pate, who is the pole dancer that he shills on.
Peyton, yeah. Killstream Pay.
Yeah, that he like shills her fucking OnlyFans, even though he's like in a relationship and shit. Okay, point number 3 on my list. Not randomly calling me a file for no reason on the Dick Show. That probably would have helped. I probably would not be so motivated to just eat him alive if he had showed any kind of restraint, and it really was out of nowhere. He had me on his show like a dozen times, half a dozen times, multiple times over years, which I guess is why he feels like I'm indebted to him. He really does feel like my podcast, the success of the forums in the last year, is a direct result of me talking on the Ralph Retort. He truly believes that. and me making any joke at his expense was unforgivable. So immediately he hits back with like just the worst you could possibly say about a person. I'm sitting there thinking like, you know, what a complete and total fucking retard this guy is. What a fucking scumbag. Because if he really believed these things, he knew about them by the time I was on his stream, right? He knew about them years ago.
Another point that was forgotten to be brought up is like his weird obsession with the notion of loyalty, that people have to be loyal to him at all costs. Like he talks about that a lot, and I know a lot of people mentioned it about him. I think it might have been a good thing to ask her about that.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, when Jim started talking about how there's no such thing as internet friends, he started picking up that line, but he never really believed that. He believes in tit for tat. That's a CRP thing where it's like, if I do anything nice for you, you got to do things nice for me. It's just not. There are no friends online. This stuff falls apart and joins together. I've seen so many people come and go over 7 years of hosting the forum that it's like hundreds of people enter and leave. The whole internet is made to be ephemeral, so he's just but really, here's my tip to everyone: don't invite problems into your life, because you will fucking get them. Number 4.
Some irony there from the owner of the Kiwi Farms, though. Don't invite problems into your life.
Well,
he's got a good point, because there is a certain animosity that comes from people being smug assholes on the internet. So if you exhibit just a little bit of humility, like I fucked up, my bad, people will be forgiving. But if you keep going, I'm winning, all these haters, like Ralph is doing, it just continuously brings that traffic of people who just want to fuck with you.
Never be smug. Smug people are the fucking worst. Nobody likes a fucking smug asshole. If you act smug, people will want to fucking knock the fucking smug off of you.
Yeah, I have a smug smile right now.
And yeah,
I feel like I got a good clip in.
Hosting the forum is like, it does invite a lot of problems, which is why I never say things like the forum can't be taken down. Like, of course it can be taken down. Like, I go out of my way to not be smug, because I know everything that I have is like a balancing act. I've got plates spinning in 10 different directions, and I know at any time if one of those things fall out of place, it's all over. So I try to be humble about.
We love you, generous Josh.
Thank you.
We love you, buddy.
Point number 4: Ralph would have saved himself a lot of trouble by not blocking people on Twitter. This seems like a petty point compared to other things, but it really does show how completely and totally incapable he is of seeing anything he does not like, because he does go to the likes of tweets he does not like and blocks everyone who likes a tweet that is offensive to him too. So he has blocked out like a huge segment of the internet, and all like former fans and people watching this right now are fucking blocked by him. And it's sort of like a bee sting. When he starts doing that, he shows that he's in pain and he can't take it. And it stimulates people to fuck with him more.
It signals that there's blood in the water, and then the sharks come. But I mean, what bothers me about this whole blocking and safe space is that these guys, like Ralph started in Gamergate, which was all about shitting on SJWs for living in like hug boxes with safe spaces and all this. And now they're doing the same thing. They're blocking, they're flagging, they're deleting comments and shutting it down, when they basically made their name off of the SJWs and of Jarbo and other people doing the same thing.
I will add to that point of yours that it's not just the blocking, it's also the cowardice in how he picks his targets. If you've been following his Twitter over the last hour, he's lashing out and attacking some random Canadian girl with no following, no, notoriety or any fame whatsoever. He just picked that specific person out of the thousands probably currently shitting on him as his target. He's very cowardly in how he picks his targets. He very much avoids going after people who he know could do damage to him. He doesn't mention PPP by name on his streams anymore. He doesn't mention me anymore. And I think after this stream, he won't be mentioning you anymore.
Maybe, but that's actually very funny, because of my next point. Ralph would have saved himself a lot of trouble by not using the Ralph retort as a platform against me, because it told everyone to go read his forum thread. He spent several segments on several different episodes talking about me for, like, to his guests. Like, his guests where you're supposed to be talking. You know how when Aid was here, we talked about Aid, or tried to talk about Aid? Yes, my list.
The Richard Nixon-esque list of enemies?
Yes.
I thought you were an unbiased moderator of the intellectual discussion on Kiwi Farm.
Very specifically these people. You've seen it before. I guess I'll send it on Discord. But this picture, Ralph could have saved himself a lot of trouble by not inviting Digibro's girlfriend, the producer of the Dick Show, and his girlfriend over to his house.
Yeah.
Because this picture basically proved what you were saying about, like, about New Project 2, or at least about the people in that sphere. Like, yeah, even though Ralph will come out and call me a file in his stream, he will then literally sleep on Digibro's couch with Faith. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
This is where I have to ask you something. Is today I saw that you were back in Dick's Discord, and hanging out with some of those people again. Not Digibro, I guess, but like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, because I think Dick is, like, guilty of really enabling Ethan Ralph, and he's defended him to the fucking death. And today he's still not even fully disavowing him. But then, you know, some of us have this tendency to maybe want to forgive him. And I don't really think we should extend him that, because I think he's a piece of shit, to be honest.
I have very mixed feelings. I think that a lot of his fans really miss me. And I think that after this, he was compelled to invite me back in, just because of how unbelievably toxic Ralph has become. Following that, Ralph would have saved himself a lot of trouble by not cheating on Faith. If you don't know the story, what happened is that he hooked up with Faith while he was in LA, while he was supposedly with Aid, and that's what made Aid dump Ralph. Months later, while he's with Faith, he starts messaging Aid on Twitter, trying to hook up a threesome without Faith's knowledge. So I would consider that infidelity, because she didn't say this is okay. And I think that is, besides the revenge porn, that's one of the motivating factors that got Aid to finally come onto the forum and start. Actually, her coming here was a result of the revenge. Her showing up on the forum was a result of the threesome. Or the threesome tweets, or the messages. So just complete fucking, like, unbelievable idiocy. He gave everyone every reason to be pissed off at him, and I bring that up in a later point. But I want to swing back to PPP. This is two PPP points. He would have saved himself a lot of trouble by ignoring PPP, but he would have saved himself a lot of trouble by not DMCAing our streams. And really, I was afraid of doing that because I figured he would wisen up and just go on Twitter and go, "Oh, thanks PPP and Josh for streaming my Patreon content. If anyone else is interested, you can sign up on Patreon right here." And that would be it. And would completely deflate all of that. Like with the Matt stream, all he had to do was not do what he did, where he started up the stream and then aborted it himself when he realized that we were shitting on him too hard. Like, just don't do that. But he always took the dumbest route every time anything happened. Ralph would have saved himself a lot of time by not parading Faith around on camera. I think, because if you don't remember, she has meth mouth, because I think she's done meth. She is not comfortable on camera at all, just very obviously. And he insists on having her on camera specifically because he has to prove to me that he's got a hot young piece of ass and I'm missing out. Literally, that's, I felt like I was giving myself too much credit by saying that, but according to Aid, that might be literally it.
Before the stream ended, PPP would give his closing thoughts on the matter.
I honestly thought that after today, I was going to kind of ride off into the sunset a little bit, and I was just going to kind of, stop f***ing with Ralph. But what really pissed me off today was Dick just fucking lying about not giving Ralph alcohol. And already, like, he admitted it so many times. And, like, when he was presented with the evidence, he still lied and said, no, I didn't. And just for me, that level of gaslighting and that level of gun guarding pisses me off to the point where I know that this is never going to end until either myself or Ralph is fucking dead in a grave. And so, I don't know. I would like to gracefully fucking walk off into the sunset saying he's finished. But I know this motherfucker is like a cockroach that's just going to keep going, keep trying to fuck with people, keep trying to fuck with me, and I hate the people that enable it. And I'm more upset about the people that are enabling him than I am actually about his behavior. The fact that there are people out there who are still going to say, this is my mensch, this is my king. What the I mean, seriously? I can't even believe it. I wish, though, we had been able to get into more of those DMs that were done yesterday. We may have to do another show breaking this down in maybe a week's time or something with what's happened. But overall, it's fucking crazy. It's a wild ride. Buckle in because it's not over yet. So that's my final thought.
Well, after that, somehow, for the rest of the month, Ralph and Faith managed to stay together, all while Ralph and Faith's father, Mr. Vickers, went at it. This culminated with Mr. Vickers leaking messages of Ralph saying that they were trying for a baby. You keep dodging the trying to get her pregnant thing. That's the only point with you that I care to address right now. I wasn't trying. I wouldn't be against it either. You two great giant child brains. Not trying is the same as trying. You wouldn't be against her getting pregnant at 18? Then you don't fucking love her at all. What kind of a twisted world do you come from? Vickers, let me drive to the museum. I'm literally driving right now. I will respond when I get there. Okay, here, I've wasted 10 years on the last 2 relationships. I want kids. I have the money to support them. Faith wants kids. It's not the worst thing in the world from my point of view. Also, there's a good argument to be made that now is actually the best time for her to have a kid. That being said, it wasn't a set goal, etc. I do love your daughter, though, and I'm not going away. Definitely not going away easily. So, I'm hoping we can bring down the hostilities a notch or 3. I still stand astounded that you could honestly believe that actual love between 2 people is possible in such a short period of time. The worst thing is that I believe that you believe you are telling the truth, which scares me more than anything. And by all means, feel free to make the good argument that now's the time in her life, especially emotionally, to have a kid. I leave you with this. You seem so confused by how pissed off I am, and make no mistake, I am well beyond pissed off. I have to deal with a man who is, from my point of view, and the point of view of every other successful stable adult that I know, actively working to destroy my daughter's future for his own benefit. And, on top of that, I have a daughter who feels compelled to lie to everyone that I hit her. May I ask you, sir, how that would make you feel if, I guess it seems when, Faith gets pregnant, she suddenly realizes, and it will happen, what the f*** did I do to my life? But now she's already had the baby and needs to flee back to California. So, to get full custody of the child you created together, she starts telling the authorities that you smacked her around. Can you stand here today and tell me that wouldn't be the biggest fucking backstab of your life? That knife, sir, is in my back at the moment. I'd been led to believe some time ago by Faith herself that the knife was never there or had been removed, but it was just pushed in deeper, I suppose. I'm sure in the same situation you'd be cool as a cucumber. On the same day, Mr. Vickers would tweet this as he had been trying to get Ralph in legal trouble for releasing the tape online, but wasn't able to do anything due to the laws in Virginia. This is what he had to say on it. After weeks of calling, finally got through to the Richmond Police Department and the Probation/Parole Department. Both said that Virginia revenge statutes require a victim, which means that the victim has to be the one to report the crime. She has 3 years to wise up before SOL runs out. At this point, Mr. Vickers wasn't playing around. It would go under the streamer Godwinson's panel. Godwinson, fun fact, being PPP's roommate at the time.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was just going to say, if Mr. Vickers gives his opening introduction, who he is, what he does, and then we'll go straight into the questioning.
Okay.
Sure thing. Yeah, this is Mr. Vickers, Faith's dad. My hobby is set on destroying the gun. I've made that quite clear. But to piggyback on what Mrs. Vickers said, our 4 other children, they're not in the room or listening to this stream, just so we're clear, because I know there's all this worry about how we're destroying our other children's lives. And that's all I can.
So, just before we went live on air, your wife, Mr. Vickers, told us about a threat that Ethan Ralph conveyed to her. Can you just repeat that, Mrs. Vickers, and just sort of let the world know what type of man Ethan Ralph is?
He's been repeatedly threatening us. The very first email he sent us. Most of them are fairly vague, but the gist of it is that he's going to destroy us, and it's going to take the little boys down with him or with us. And so basically trying to publicly destroy the character of everybody in this family, including trying to destroy our business by bad-mouthing us. We have already had our business website defaced once. Don't know that it was him directly or if it was one of his supporters. But it's all about destroying us.
Why do you think he wants to destroy you? Why is he afraid?
To be honest, I think all of this comes right down to control, including with our daughter. She wanted control, and so this was the ultimate way of getting it, was to simply flee in the middle of the night and take off across to Virginia. And he, the same thing. It's control. He's trying to bully us to basically backing off and just letting him do what he wants.
Mr. Vickers, do you think that will work?
No. Ethan... I'm sorry. I gave some laughter there and said a big no to that. Ethan Ralph's problem is that the guy has the emotional maturity of a 15-year-old boy. I know, because I have a 15-year-old boy that I guess is more mature than him. But the man can't respond to any attack. He has to respond to everything. I've seen nothing like it before. Every time he's like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, Vickers. Go to hell. And then I send one more text. He's like, I got to respond to this. So he's a giant bitch. And what I've said several times in Twitter, and I've said it to multiple people, silence is the food of degenerates. He is a degenerate. What he wants is he doesn't want a spotlight turned on his stupid, degenerate gut life to see that the only person that he can get with is a mentally disturbed 18-year-old girl.
Then, we would get to hear about Digibro and his girlfriend, Amanda Morris. 2 people that will be very, very important later on.
But I think, if I remember correctly, she says something about, I need to go to dinner with my friends, or something like that.
That was on, we checked in Saturday, and that was Sunday after we had gone and visited what we could that was close to the hotel, which was basically everything from the Washington Monument. You could go into the Washington Monument, you can look at it.
Did you know she had friends in Washington, D.C.?
Brand new friends, yeah. Her, I think, what is it, Digibro and his pseudo wife, and May, she called it, is her name May and Gray? That's how we only knew of them as May and Gray at that point.
Well, Ralph didn't like the Vickers going so public with all this information and made Faith record this video and uploaded it on September 9th, 2020.
I've tried my best not to respond to the attacks from my father and mother over the past few weeks. My main focus has been on my relationship and my recovery. That will continue to be the case. However, due to their recent unethical and arguably illegal activities, I've decided it was necessary to set the record straight with this statement. I am not mentally ill, as my parents would have you believe. I do have mental health issues, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all things that millions of Americans deal with daily. Last month, in the face of withering abuse and attacks from Kiwi Farms, Godwinson, PPP, and others, I had a breakdown and required hospitalization. My parents, who now talk about how much they care about me, used to regularly ridicule my mental health. And on that day, they didn't even want to take me to the hospital until I forced their hand. The concerned parent routine is just an act. If it wasn't an act, how could my father, Matthew Vickers, justify linking up with the same scumbags who put me in the hospital? He now interacts with Kiwi Farms and considers them friends. He does interviews with Godwinson. These are the people responsible for the sudden decline in my mental health, and my father now calls them friends. That's not the behavior of a concerned parent. It's the behavior of a narcissist. This man has shared my private health history to the entire internet without my consent. He talks about me getting tested for medical ailments, but when I was there, they neglected to take me to get medical care time and time again. Delays, excuses, there was always a reason.
Well, less than a week later, on September 15th, 2020, Ralph and Nick Rekieta would get into it. Rather than explain it myself, I'll let Nick do it. It's highlight time.
Ralph had Richard Spencer on tonight, and I saw this tweet from Ralph about, lol, I wonder what WooCommerce is going to do when they find out you're using their tech to sell Kiwi Farms merchandise, and he's tagged, he's got a quote tweet of Josh from Kiwi Farms, okay? So I responded, man, you're on right now talking about people trying to deplatform you, because he has Richard Spencer on, and there's this dweeby little sack of garbage named Jared Holt, who runs around trying to deplatform people with articles and a bunch of money from interested parties, and he just wages war on alt-right, or whatever. So he's been after Ethan Ralph for a long time. He's targeted guys like Andy Worski before. He's just a sniveling little turd. And Ralph is talking about that in his tweets and on the show. And so I took the opportunity to say, man, you're on right now talking about people trying to deplatform you. Jared Holt is a bitch. Don't be like that. Because Jared Holt is a bitch. And deplatforming, sake, is just a move, and there's nothing else to it. And I don't know who all, I don't have a catalog of all the people who've ever tried to deplatform everyone. So I can't go around and call out every single person. And sometimes they happen and I miss them. But you know what? Don't try to deplatform people. And here's the really hard part of this. And trust me, this is the really hard part of this. And yes, I saw Matt Jarbo in the chat, and I think maybe Matt has learned this lesson. I don't know if he has or not. But oddly enough, this is cyclical killstream drama. But don't even try to deplatform people who have tried to deplatform you. Because fighting deplatforming with more deplatforming is still bullshit. All right? It is still bullshit. You don't need to do it. It's not a win. Just today, I saw a weird little video from Keemstar where he's telling Ethan Klein that they need to bury the hatchet because they're both losing in this. That's what deplatforming does. It's just a downward spiral of degenerating bullshit. And people have to stop. Just don't watch. That's it. Don't watch, don't buy it, whatever. Let people end up deplatforming themselves out of economic opportunity or whatever. That's what really needs to happen. But if other people are enjoying the show for whatever reason, let them enjoy the show or the thing or the product. Like, we don't have to deplatform shit.
Of course, it wasn't just Nick that Ralph flipped out on. Dame Pesos got the same treatment. The war between Ralph and everyone continues as Ralph is going after the lawyer, Nick Rekieta. Oh no, the walking soundboard has something to say. Oh wait, he's snaking on his friends again. Not a surprise. I would say you have to go back, but stay in the third world hole you're already in. Nick Rekieta would also mention these tweets in his stream.
I gotta say this. This is probably because I'm drunk, but it's okay. That's fine. So Dame Pesos, 2 hours ago. More breaking news. The war between Ralph and everyone continues as Ralph is going after lawyer Nick Rekieta. Will Nick get his own tailor-made sex tape? I hope so. Cha 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 cha. I hope that's an okay Dame impression. And then Ralph says, oh no, the walking soundboard is something to say. Oh wait, he's snaking on his friends again, not a surprise. I would say you have to go back, but stay in the third world hole you're already in. That's actually kind of funny from Ralph. That's pretty funny. Anyway, I just saw that. I thought I'd share it with you guys. Cha, 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 cha.
Ralph would then upload a now deleted article called Father of the Year. Unfortunately, the original is long gone, so we're gonna have to use this archived version. The kill stream has been the biggest and most successful thing I've ever done, but it was my first known venture. You're on that one right now. I feel bad about letting this place stay dormant these past couple of months, but the show and my rocky personal life has taken up most of my time. That situation is what brings me here, in the first place, actually. Whenever I'm really feeling like or just want to vent, I start typing. Because even after almost 700 kill streams, the written word is how I really express my thoughts. It's cathartic for me. Matthew Vickers and his wife Ariana have spent the better part of the last 2 months spreading baseless claims and accusations about me online in retaliation for me dating their daughter Faith. Instead of, actually giving a fuck about Faith, they have waged a campaign of public destruction against me and my show. Since I'm literally known for being an asshole and arguably a piece of shit, it hasn't really had that much effect on the kill stream itself. But I would be lying to you if I said it hadn't had an effect on her and I. To make a long story short, their daughter has chosen to live with me, and they simply cannot handle it. She's pregnant with my child, and they can't accept it, despite Faith herself publicly asking them to stop with their provocations. They refuse. They're sick people, and they seem to enjoy the whole thing. The cretinous spurg who calls himself a father is now plotting to write a book about the whole affair. I guess that will make up for the screenplays he's been writing all these years. Like 99% of the population, you've probably never read a Matthew Vickers screenplay. But now, he has me to write about. People finally care about his words. The E-fame is within reach. This pile of trash doesn't give a single fuck about his daughter, who writes stuff like this to their kid. Certainly not a level-headed person and caring individual, that's for sure. Oh, and in public, he tries to portray her as mentally ill. But in private, he sends her nasty letters dripping with scorn and derision. He's a phony, plain and simple. I don't think I'll have anything to add going forward, though. Faith is pregnant, and they are apparently determined to f*** with us the whole way through. Still, I thought it would be good to throw a little light on the vindictive Vickers duo for a change. Faith and I have cut all contact with them now, but who knows what they have in store. Maybe Fat Matt has a musical he wants to make about the whole affair, or he could have a crowdfunding an indie game, maybe open up a Patreon or some and print out merch. He's already mentioned that, by the way. The options are limitless for the scumbag like him. Imagine trying to fucking grift off the back of your own daughter's tragedy. Is there any lower form of humor besides pedophiles? I certainly can't think of any off the top of my head. But that's reality for Mr. Vickers, and I know I make a lot of noise about going low, but this fucker has taken the proverbial cake and scarfed it down in whole in one sitting. This has been my entire life the past 2 months. Oh, I mustn't forget for the people taking pot shots from every direction imaginable. Every opportunistic, no-talent hack you can think of has come out and tried to prop themselves up off my situation. The Vickers lies. Supposed friends have taken shots. Randoms in my mentions with this nonsense on the daily. I would be lying to you if I said this was fun. It's tiring, and it's meant to be. They hope to wear me down, and if I wasn't such a spiteful son of a bitch, they probably already would have. Their hate, while annoying and sometimes even detrimental, is also my fuel. By God, you motherfuckers, I now have a full fucking tank, and it's about time to hit the open road. Well, hours after that, after sobering up, Ralph had apologized to Nick Rekieta. It's just been, it's been non-stop warfare the past 30 days. Sometimes you get so deep in the bunker that you start shooting at anything that moves. Not an excuse, but it's been shit. I apologize to Nick Rekieta for addressing him in that manner. He's never done anything to deserve that sort of language, regardless of any issue I had. I can also say the same about Dame Pesos as well. That was uncalled for, and I apologize. Well, on September 27th, 2020, the YouTuber Kill All Pedos uploaded the cancerless Jim show Ballad of Ethan Ralph, where he took old clips of Jim and made it look like Jim had said them in an amazing skill that can only be used before AI voice cloning.
Jesus fucking Christ, could it get any worse? Well, in fact, yes it could. Because Ethan Ralph is an alcoholic, hard drug user, who has scammed and alienated his own fan base, to the point where nobody watches his content anymore. He has no redeeming qualities, nothing but negative character traits, and he's basically like a big, fat, disgusting fucking pig. You know, Ethan Ralph kind of reminds me of a mix of Wings of Redemption, Mundane Matt, Kraut and Tea, the Spoony One, Tonka Saw, Shia LaBeouf, Pro Jarrett, and Nick Bate. This is all that rolled up into one. This is every lolcount, read, and spurg on the internet rolled up into one, happening in real time. And all you've got to do is just watch it unfold. So I want to take you on a journey a descent into madness. Yeah, you can already see where this is going. It's been a long time coming. It's been too long coming. That's right. It's finally happening. This is the Ballad of Ethan Ralph. Okay, buckle up, boys. Here we go. We're going balls deep.
So Ralph, as you probably could guess, didn't like that and struck down the video for bullying and refused to show his flag history when asked. Our old friend Jim, however, was asked what he thought about this on Twitter. 10 out of 10. Well, that tweet was enough for Ralph to unfollow Jim on Twitter, causing Null to say this on the Kiwi Farms. Lol, he unfollowed his daddy for saying that a video making fun of him was funny. Eben. As they say, the blood of Fate's womb is thicker than the water of Gamergate, or something. Well, at this time, Ralph was about to meet up with a girl IRL known as Pantsu Party soon, but her real name, as we said earlier, was actually Amanda Morris. What do you say we go back to May 27th, 2020 when Ralph and her first met, so we can get an introduction from Amanda herself?
Pantsu Party, welcome to the kill stream. How you doing?
Hey. Hi, everybody. It's me. You can call me May. That's my human name.
Okay,
but it's me.
thank you, May.
I run the YouTube channel Pantsu Party. I'm a Digibro's fiance.
What's your
Or
furry
Digi
name?
Nay. That's what it is now.
Okay. Now, Pantsu Party, May, yeah, I call people by their gimmick names.
Fine, call me whatever.
But I'll call you May. I mean, Pantsu Party is a mouthful. And then
Just hearing Ralph say pantsu.
And then just to call you Pantsu.
It made my day, I must say. Oh my god, I love that Biden shop with the pantsuit.
Well, Amanda would then say something that you might want to remember later.
No,
I think I can do a little bit better than Ralph. That's why I'm aiming.
Wow! Wow! That's
Collars go off. Collars go off.
The current evidence says no, so I don't know what you mean by that.
Drop the hard R, Ralph. Drop the hard R. We know you want
to. But
what about an Andy Ralph combo?
Well, fast forward to October 9th, 2020, and Amanda Morris would break up with her then boyfriend Digibro, becoming single.
Lots of changes have been going on in my life and Digi's, and I'm sure if you follow me basically anywhere, you will know that me and Digi have split up. I have moved back home to upstate New York with my family. And yeah, it's been a very chaotic time. I wanted to make an update video like a week ago. I went outside and I don't have it right now. My dad bought me this, it's like, it rotates your camera. It's a gimbal.
Well, could you guess why I showed you that earlier? What reason would I possibly show you Ralph and Amanda Morris meeting for the first time?
Look! Holy crap, did you see that? They were holding hands, dude. Busted. Busted. Ace pass? Yeah, my man. I can't believe you noticed that. Damn. Oh, and immediately when the camera got pointed, he was like, "Oh, we can't touch hands anymore." They're trying to hide it. They're trying to hide it so poorly, dude. And there you have to start.
It's so true, though. It's like, it's not even like, and obviously it only gets captured because someone else is using the camera, and he doesn't realize that he's on camera, but then the second he does,
oh look,
he breaks the hand immediately, like awkwardly, and like scratches his face nervously, which is a nervous tick that a lot of people do. And it's like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, I don't like to speculate wildly and just assume the worst and hope it's true, right? Because he has a pregnant girlfriend and there's now a child involved in this, so let's be a little bit tactful. But I'm sitting here and I'm legit thinking, when would it be appropriate for a man with a girlfriend to hold another woman's hand? And I'm thinking, like, okay, like, best case scenario, I think the only appropriate time would be, like, you're in an airport and you're trying to, like, guide them through a crowd. You can grab them, but usually you would grab someone by the wrist or on the upper arm, or you would push them through a crowd to guide them.
Well, another week after that, and Null himself would create the Ethan Ralph board on the Kiwi Farms, closing off the Ethan Ralph thread at page 3642. With 20 posts maximum per page, that meant that there were 72,840 posts. Null would also talk about how Ralph broke up with Faith for Amanda.
They've been hanging out. That he tried to replace a doctor med student with Faith, or not even Faith, but Aid, who was like an adult woman, age appropriate, someone who you could probably tolerate being around. And then he went to Faith, a 18-year-old woman, and then he went to Pantsu Party, a lolicon. And then he went to a schizophrenic dog murderer. And that is the... But it doesn't matter. If it's young, it doesn't matter, I've been told, by multiple people who are educated in women.
Null would then tell us why he gave in and made the Ethan Ralph board, as well as a few predictions on what was going to end up happening with him.
I opened a board. I gave up. I opened a board for him. I didn't want to give him a board because I felt like that's it's like too much attention for him, and I felt like the thread would be better served for it. And I really did think after the pregnancy, things would settle down. It would enter back into the routine, because it's happened before with Ralph, where there were huge peaks in activity, and then half a year, a full year of not that much happening. And I thought, okay, after the pregnancy thing, after Vickers signed off, would calm down, and there would be another 6 months where it didn't happen. No, not even like 3 months. 3 months later, his pregnant girlfriend breaks up with him and starts releasing conversations where Ralph is trying to pressure her into a three-way with Digibro's ex, who is an open lolicon, who hangs pictures of children above her bed where she sleeps, and who is in these conversations trying to tell May that while Faith gets a job, she will stay at home, do her anime hentai reviews, and help them raise the infant child with Ralph.
Around the same time, Nick Rekieta would cover leaked messages between Ralph and Faith, where Ralph was talking about bringing Amanda into their relationship.
Since someone brought it up, if anybody is curious about what that weirdo was talking about, if you're not aware, there are some DM leaks from Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph is the host of the Kill Stream. There are some leaks about, some leaks of his DMs allegedly. I mean, they look real to me. I don't know, but where he was attempting to entice, coerce, I don't know, something, his young pregnant girlfriend into a polyamorous situation, which I find polyamorous situations to be degenerate and disgusting and terrible. I think they're awful for anything. Look, if you want to bang multiple people at once, that's fine. If you want to have a committed relationship, I don't think that poly is the way to go. That's been my position on poly forever. You want to screw up that relationship, go ahead. But that alleged leak occurred, and then because of quote unquote my silence on the issue, I apparently condone this. He is also accused by her, I think. I don't even know if this is right, so I might be getting this wrong, because believe it or not, I don't read about Ethan Ralph. I don't follow his life. His life happens in Virginia or wherever he lives, and my life happens in Minnesota. But he is accused by some, I think including her, of strangling her at some point. Now, importantly, I'm not aware of a police report. I'm not aware of any charges being filed. And so my position on this has been the same as look, if someone abuses you, call the cops. And until I see something like that, I don't know what else to say. But yeah, this is important to remember
that this person has lied about these types of things before. So, who knows? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know.
What a way to end the year. Or at least that's what I would have said if it wasn't for the fact that Ralph would do what I think most people would say is one of the stupidest things you can possibly do, and smoked meth on live stream.
Bro. What's up, bro? Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. Oh, wow. Sorry, you handle that? Yeah, I do. Hell yeah. What I do is, no. Come over here, buddy. Look, it's actually going down, right? What? Can I get that picture while it's still going?
While Ralph was smart enough not to smoke it on camera, he could clearly be heard saying yes, and if that wasn't enough, not long later, the other streamer would say, "I can't believe I just smoked meth with Ethan Ralph."
There's no fully new bars in Virginia. You at least have it's backwards.
Oh yeah, it's in West Virginia.
Yeah, you have to.
Dude, I can't believe I smoked that.
It's backwards.
Ralph.
It's backwards.
Ralph Resort.
It's backwards for the third time. Your shirt. It's on backwards. I've told you that like 16 times.
I didn't know what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the bar laws and how you can have strippers in Florida, but not Virginia. It's backwards.
And somehow, that wasn't even it. On December 16th, 2020, Ralph managed to get himself arrested, not for his recent activities, but the revenge video that he had sent to Chris Kerr. Null would talk about this on Matt the Internet, so it's highlight time.
Motherfucker, like, okay, if you're gonna, maybe it's just insecurity. Maybe when he's getting threatened with, like, all this, legality from behind the scenes, he just gets angry and he lashes out and says, well, you'll be in prison before I ever am. It's like, okay, fine. Then he ends up in jail. On revenge, which is something I didn't even think would happen. I really didn't think he would get hit with revenge porn, some brand new law, but it happened. Whether or not it'll pan out, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer because I know a lot of people want to see him get arrested. I don't even want to see him end up in jail because he's funnier when he's out. He's funnier when he's live streaming himself. So I really don't want to see that stop. That's too good, right? And regardless of if he walks or not, if he gets away with it scot-free, the fact is that he has told people he has about $50,000 in savings. People know he makes about $25,000 a year. He probably drinks everything that he gets, and he just has this little nest egg. This defense is going to cost him thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands of dollars. It's going to be because he's already hired. He's not using a public defender. He's hired the same woman that he had represent him during the divorce proceedings with Nora, which is crazy to think about because the divorce with Nora only left him this year. Can you believe that the Nora divorce thing was this fucking year? It just happened, and now he's facing since that divorce, he's had like 3 different girlfriends. He got one of them knocked up. She's already left him, and he's now being charged with revenge of this second woman. Since the divorce in 1 calendar year. That is fucking incredible to think about. Just how fast the ball is rolling. But no matter what, he's out a ton of fucking money. And then there's a fun side bet. If you're thinking of this like poker or blackjack, you have a sucker bet on the side. And the sucker bet is his parole ends in March 2021. He's like 2 months from getting off of parole. And his parole officer could just say, "You're being charged with revenge. I'm going to call that a violation. You're going back to jail until March." And then he'll have to fight the court case from in jail. That's like a side bet that's just kind of hanging out. And I believe that if he gets convicted while he's on parole for a duplicate of the original time. It starts all over again. So he really like, okay, him, no matter what, he's real just on the money face and how much this is going to stress him out, how he's probably going to lash out and act retarded in the next couple months just because he's under such duress. But then, like, The lose situation is that he ends up in jail again, which he really doesn't. And then the lose situation with the sucker bet is that he ends up on parole for another 5 years or whatever. So it is really a bad place for him to be in. It couldn't have happened to a nicer person, really. And as I said on Twitter, it's like, this is entirely your fault. You keep going out there and you keep antagonizing people and you keep making fun of people and being a dickhead to fucking everyone. And it's not those people who have done this to you. It's continually you, and people are continually found to be right. When they say Faith is not a person you want to hitch your wagon to, turns out that's right. Vickers is fucking crazy. He's fucking crazy, and he has the cash flow to spend on lawyers.
Null would also show Ralph talking about how he knew if he was being recorded being offered drugs, he would have knocked the streamer out. It's important to note that Ralph was still on probation at this time and had just gotten out of jail.
I was literally and I should, if I'd have seen that he was like trying to record, I would have.
Oh, this is he's talking about how when he was in the alley smoking meth and got recorded, the guy who offered him meth or tab hits or whatever the probably intended to record him to embarrass him, and this was his reaction. This is in the stream where he is announcing to his audience that he was placed under arrest and is out on bail for releasing revenge. And this is how he responds to that.
I was literally and I should, if I'd have seen that he was like trying to record me, I would have knocked the fuck out of that dude.
Well, I'll tell you who I think that guy is, because
he's just lucky. He's just lucky I didn't see that. He's lucky I didn't see that, because I would have beat the holy hell out of that piece of
Gator desperately tries to interrupt him, like, hey, don't make violent threats. You're currently being criminally prosecuted. This will look bad as a testament towards your character. And he's like, no, don't even mention that motherfucker. I would knock the shit out of him. It's like, okay, bro. Probably not the best thing to say, that you're so aggressive and violent, but you do you. Oh, and I want to make this clear. The Gator keeps tagging me on Twitter. I'm not going to respond to Gator ever again, because now that I know he's just like a paid henchman of Ralph, I look at him like a PR agent. What do I have to say to this PR agent? Call. I'm going to make fun of Ralph, and Gator can do whatever the fuck he wants, because he's uninteresting. He is the most milquetoast person that has ever lived. The only reason why he accepts the paltry minimum wage sum that he does to continue being Ralph's lapdog is that he has like a high, like he works bagging groceries. And for the record, I do not think there's anything wrong with bagging groceries. You work service, more power to you. I hope you get by with a comfy life. But it's not a very prestigious position. You know, nobody thinks their local supermarket grocery bagger is a hero. And so I think he gets like a high off being the Ralph retort guy. You know what I mean? So that's it. And the interesting thing will be to see, the only interesting thing about Gator will be to see what he does if Ralph ends up in jail.
Surprisingly, that was it for the rest of the year, and I know that we covered a lot of that pretty fast, and that's because we did. All that was kind of like the tutorial level for Ralph, and things will only pick up from there. But for the first couple of months after that, things would be pretty quiet for Ralph. Or that was until him and Amanda went to get their things back from Digipro in late March 2021. While covering this, Null would show what is arguably Ralph's worst look that we have ever seen.
And I know that's what everyone wants to see.
6 months.
So the man in the red, Ethan Ralph, a man who dresses himself, decided to wear red, like, sporting shorts with, like, a red t-shirt. And his clothes do not fit him. So you just have this hanging mound of flesh. He claims to be 275 pounds. And he's probably about 5'4", and this is what a person who drinks heavily and weighs 275 pounds at 5'4" looks like. The woman wearing the cringe anime. Actually, is that Mint? I think
later
that's Mint.
as my house.
Because I don't think Digibro actually fights Ralph at all. Digibro like hides in the room and calls the police. That's Mint, and we're going to be talking about Mint too, just to kind of sort out who's doing what. The only thing I don't know and it's not really important, but correct me if you know, who the f*** is filming? I can account for everyone in this video except the person who's wearing the GoPro and recording this. I have no idea who this is.
Thankfully, an unedited version of that fight came out, and we're going to watch that as opposed to the heavily edited version that Digibro uploaded.
Do I look 5'1"? You are 5'1". Do I look 5'1"? 1. Do I look 5'1"? He's house. You're nothing! You're 5'1". You're 5 foot tall. You are 5 foot tall.
You alright? Yeah, I'm fine.
He's 5 foot. No, that's all. I don't know where his phone is. It's over there. There you go. Get your phone.
I'll get myself. I need your help.
Well, we're helping you. We're better than you. And we're not stumping to your level. We're better than you.
I didn't do anything wrong. There's so much shit on the curb.
Lock it up.
Because I said I wanted to.
Just lock it up.
Ralph would later go into more detail on what happened on episode 252 of The Dick Show. There was a video version of this also, but I couldn't find it anywhere. This is going to be heavily edited down for time.
Since we were already in Virginia Beach, May still had some stuff at their house, and she goes, "Hey, could you guys just clear out for like an hour or two, maybe around lunch, so we could come by and get that stuff?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's cool. I'll do that, etc." Well, we go out. We're going to eat lunch, and he calls back up and says, "I don't want Ralph in my house. Ralph's gonna do this. What might he do in my house?" First off, I'm not coming in your fucking house. I never wanted to come in your fucking house. I already came in your house once and took every single thing I wanted out of that bitch and left. So I mean, like, I don't know. It was ridiculous. I mean, technically last night I did after they jumped me, but whatever. So it devolves from there. He ends up blocking her, whatever. And yesterday I'm sitting here. I think I was recording a bonus episode or some shit. He sends a picture of all her out in the middle of the yard, basically. And it's raining. A classic move, by the way. You know what? I didn't believe the gender transition until I saw that. And then I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. But so all of her is out in the rain. And so I messaged him. I'm like, I'm going to be at that house tonight. You know, they better still be there.
Yeah.
And so I go and
let's watch. Let's watch what happened at some point when you got. I think I have it queued up.
Yeah, well, come on. I want to get my part out here.
Okay, go ahead.
So I do the sunset, and then I go. It's like, I don't know, 1:30 or something. It's real late. We just go out there and we're putting the stuff in the car. And Riley sped ass is standing there with a camera, I guess, like filming me outside the window.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's saying. I can't really hear him, but I was like, "You bitch, basically come out here, come out here."
Yeah.
So he opens the door and starts saying, "I'm 5'1", which actually he's 5'1". I stood next to this little puny bitch. He is tiny, dude. He is so fucking tiny. If we actually do this fight in the cage, I'm gonna punish him, Dick. I am gonna take him to school and fucking absolutely beat the out of this
so
shit.
You are down for this fight. You're serious about this fight.
100% in, dude. Like, no money needed. I don't give a I'll pay my own way. I don't give a I'll make plenty of money off regardless. I don't need any type of stipend, any type of fucking purse, not a goddamn thing. I'm ready to go now. Like, I don't give a fuck.
What kind of fight would you want to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking it might as well be with Tim Loy, MMA. Since I know that guy.
Okay, MMA or boxing. I don't. Is Riley? Somebody find Riley so we can get his commentary after that. I want to see if he's down for a fight because this is the fight that we'll see in a moment, Sean. It's very interesting. Ralph gets hit first, cold cock.
Yeah.
Ralph delivers a cold cock of his own later, but there at no point is there room for an actual fight. Then Ralph, it's ganged up on like 3-on-1.
Yeah, it's not. It's a jump. They tried to jump me, basically.
Like before, we're gonna have another time skip where many things had happened in between. These events include Flamenco TV leaving the kill stream due to Ralph taking down videos that he didn't like and other similar behavior. Ralph's son, Xander, was born, and it would be years before Ralph had ever seen him. Ralph proposed to Amanda, and a few other events that, while interesting, don't really have enough content to justify using them. But there was one big event that had no shortage.
Christian, what's up? Kill stream, baby. When you get out, let's do the kill stream. Look me up. about Joshua Connor Moon. Tell them all about Josh Moon. That's who they want.
Give it up, Christian.
Give them up. Save yourself, girl. Magic Chair will help you. You're beautiful. Look up Ethan Ralph, Killstream. I live here in Richmond, buddy.
Go to church.
No, come to the Killstream first. Yeah! What kind of is this? Holy sh! Oh my God! Thank you.
Christian Western Chandler, right here.
Oh! Oh! You better hurry, Jesse. You're missing out.
On August 1st, 2021, Ralph cemented himself into Christery, live streaming Chris Chan himself getting arrested. I talked about this event heavily in my Chris Chan Demon Theory video, and even though I'm sure 99% of you know what happened, I'll make this quick. Chris was being groomed by his troll Isabella Jenkins to essay his mom and then self-sunset after. Well, Chris had admitted this to somebody else who would then release the info. There was then a protection order that essentially kicked Chris out of the home, leading to Chris to move into the motel that we just saw. Ralph's original plan was to go there and get Chris Chan to say the reason that he did what he allegedly did was because Null had told him to. Well, that didn't work the way that Ralph thought, and instead, Ralph had just filmed the arrest. Null would actually comment on this, saying that he had done nothing bad to Chris and that Chris would have nothing bad to say against him.
We'll rewind it a bit. So the first objective is to get Chris to say bad things about me. Chris, by the way, I want you to know, heart to heart, if Chris were to sit down and talk about me, he would have not a single fucking negative thing to say about me. I have never done anything to Chris, ever. I struggle to think of a single, I didn't even troll him in jest. My interactions with him, not in a helpful troll kind of way. I know a lot of Wings people like to say that they're just trolling Jordy to lose weight. It's for its own good. And then when the Asperchew guy trolled Chris, the whole shtick was that he was trying to give Chris a competitive spirit to make him work harder and understand that he has to work every day if he wants his dreams to come true. That's kind of the trolling for a good cause. Nothing of that sort ever either. I gave him my first interaction with Chris was when I sent him a box of supplies in 2014 after his house burned down. I collected money from the forum, which was still really small at the time, and we sent him $900 in a big box. And then the next time I talked to him was after the Idea Guy stuff, and I completely uprooted those fucking people who were extorting him. And then the next time we talked was years later when he wanted to go to the BronyCon. We had kind of had conversations. There's literally nothing. So his mind, he really thinks that Chris is going to say something that implicates me in a crime. He really believes this. Ralph is that desperate. He can't even not believe it. He has to believe it. He has to believe that Chris has something on me, that somebody out there has some shit they want to say about me. Remember when last week, I don't think I even talked about this, he was threatening to bring a family member on to spill the dirt about me. And that was obviously a bluff. But I'm thinking about my family. My family doesn't have anything to say about me. They might have embarrassing stories from when I was a little kid or something. But they're serious people. They're not going to come on some an alcoholic show to talk about something stupid I did in grade school or some shit. Never ever there's no one who has anything on me. It's all out there, and he's so desperate for that. He's so desperate for someone who knows the truth, the real deep side, the real horror stories that I've committed. He's so desperate for that person. I would not be surprised if he tries to make something up soon, just because he needs it. He needs it to sleep at night at this point. Anyways, at this point, I love this. May still pretending to be trad shouts at him, "Go to church," and then Ralph says, "No, come to the kill stream first, then go to church."
Even with all the new viewers Ralph got from the Chris Chan arrest footage, nothing seemed to help him out. Ralph started bleeding viewers at this time, and things were looking bad for the kill stream. But then, someone would return to the internet after 18 long months. Someone that, while Ralph saw as a father figure, would end up becoming death enemy number 1.
Well, good evening, chat. It's been a little while. Daddy had to go get cigarettes, and It was a bit of a longer journey than I expected. Hopefully Mom told you not to stay up. Otherwise, you've been waiting around for, I don't know, about 18 months? It's been about 18 months, about a year and a half. A year, maybe. Hopefully the audio's decent. I'm using a different headset than I normally would. My favorite and cheap. I could get rid of that right now. Stream's already started. My favorite little cheap headset's dead. Long gone and buried, and I'm using this thing. So hopefully the audio quality's coming through at least semi-decently. How have you been? Are you all excited for the ice cream social? I know our president loves his ice cream. I love my ice cream too. I hope you all love it as well. A lot of things have been going on since I've been gone for a while. Apparently, the internet's lost its mind. The world's gone a little bit crazy, a little bit kooky. Let me check my audio levels here before we really get into it.
We're getting close to the end of the Jim and Ralph story, and as much as I thought I could have gotten it finished by now, the next one's going to be a big one, and I hope to see you there. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon. But wait, what's this?
Lolcow Trading Card Game introduces our newest release, Volume X, the largest drop of the most dastardly cows and scribes alike. Lolcows like CW Chan, Rax, Buds, Blade, and many more. But let's not forget about our beloved commentary scribes featuring those at the forefront of lolcow lore today, such as Smokey McCracken, Kiwi Tapes, Audentum, Based Shaman, and so many more. The Lolcow Trading Card Game brings the most utterly infamous internet memes to you in cardboard.
What the fuck did you expect?